Good afternoon, everybody. As promised, here I am. I hope you've got your coffee and you've got a glass of wine. Good morning to those of you who have just woken up. Let's see. There are some friends in Brazil that are going to join us as well. Hello. How are you? All right. So, as promised, I'm going to be doing some talks and lectures, discussions and conversations on interesting topics and areas of interest that students have often asked me to talk about. And just in general, students have come across to myself and many of my colleagues to say, oh, I wish we could learn more about how to deal with the airport, or how to go about ordering something over the phone. It can be really, really difficult sometimes, and we get shy. So a poll was done, and I have some very, very cool ideas from some of my students, and we are going to be discussing all of these. So why is this happening now? Well, we're all sort of stuck at home, aren't we? Because of the crisis that is going on at the moment. And so this is a perfect time to reconnect with all of you guys. So Moad, hi. Hope you're all well. Please join me every day from 5 p.m. onwards for these lessons, and let me know if you have any questions, or if you would like me to touch on something more specific, and I'll be happy to try and honor those. All right. So today we are talking about a topic very dear to me, and that is how to be, hi Chief, how to be more polite in English. Now, I know that we all know how to say please and thank you, and you're welcome, and it's my pleasure, but being polite goes way beyond that. So in our native languages, it comes a little bit easier for us to say, could I have a cup of coffee, please, to the person at the waiter at the restaurant. But I have a bank of vocabulary, right, that is supporting what I want to say. Many people don't. So if it's not your native language, you're going to find yourself struggling to put together a sentence as it is. Never mind try to consider please and thank yous. I mean, those just sort of like go on holiday, right? So the reality is that by just being a little more polite, you do not come across as being rude, abrasive, or even aggressive. It can elevate business practices, at least, but also help you become more confident in everyday situations. Hi, Mazen. Hi, Mahmoud. Hello, friends. It is true that even though we talk a lot about this in business studies, think about everyday situations where being more polite can be to your benefit. So you're probably asking yourself, saying to yourself, yeah, but Nicoletta, I am polite. I do know how to say please and thank you. It's just more about diplomacy. Remember that your bank of vocabulary is going to greatly influence how polite you are, but also your body language and your gestures and your facial expression. They will also play a really big role in the way that you are polite. You could say please and thank you forever, but with poor body language or a blank expression, it's pretty much the same as not being polite at all. So I have 5 ways that you can be, 5 ways that you can consider that will help you be more polite and more diplomatic. Remember that there is no hard and fast rule about it, but I like to tell my students to think of it as creating a new awareness. So you know about it, but now with these tips, you're going to be more aware about it. Okay, so the very first one that I'm going to share with you is think and speak slowly. Contrary to popular belief, you do not need to speak fast. You don't need to roll over your words as quickly as possible. Consider that you need to find a little bit of time, right, to come up with what you want to say, right? So you're creating an awareness for yourself. So in order for that awareness to come into play, you need to give yourself a little bit of time. So think about what you want to say. The thinking is going to help adjust your body language and your expressions, or your facial expressions, right? Those few seconds that you're thinking, you will use to reconfigure what your body language and your face is going to add to your expression. And those seconds are going to give you time to select those words. Now, today, you might not have those words, but you're going to learn them, right? You're going to write them down. You're going to do a little bit more research on it. Tomorrow, when you want to use them, you're going to try and find them in that passive bank of knowledge by giving yourself that thinking time. So think about what you want to say, and number 2 goes hand in hand with think and choosing your words, right? Think, speak slowly, and choose those words. Number 2 is listen and be understanding. So I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about with regards to thinking and facial expressions. But first, tip number 2, because they go hand in hand. It's very funny how we often, hi, Angelica and Khalid and all these wonderful people. Chantal, hi. Chantal and Ibiza. Wow. All these wonderful people are joining me today. Hi, guys. Hi, Angelica. Okay. Right. Let me get back to it. We very often underestimate the power of listening, and not just listening, but listening and understanding, and using our faces to show that we are listening to the person that is speaking. Now, we are going to try and use that and find a way for it to help us be more polite. So if you show the person or demonstrate to the person that you are listening to that you're willing to accept what they are going to say, that you won't just say no or I disagree, you are going to almost always get a positive reaction, even if what you need to tell them is not positive. Hear me out. So here are some examples of phrases that you could use in this particular case. Yes, but. Okay, let me give you a more specific example. Let's say Francesco asks me he wants to go out and play soccer, but it's a bit of a difficult period now. It's not a good idea to go outside, or not. It's not happening. Can you see how just the words that I've used, yes, but, already will give him the confidence to say, okay, my mom's listening to me, right? So there's that. You could also, in a more formal way, you could say, I see what you mean, but, or more informally, I hear you, but. You may have heard me actually say this if you've been in my class. I hear you, but. Teacher, I can't do my homework because I'm going away for 3 days. I hear you, but it is really important that you study because you have a test on Monday. Rather than, well, I'm not interested in your problems. Or, no, I'm not listening to you. So make sure that by listening and using those expressions that pause to allow them to sit back and gather that my teacher is listening to me and is understanding, hi Gabby, and is understanding what I'm ultimately trying to get from the person, they are automatically going to give you a positive reaction, even though what you need to tell them is negative. So here's an example. I'm thinking of one right now. Nicoletta, do you think we could talk about that new course book? No, I don't have time. Can you see how that would just turn my colleague off completely and probably have negative thoughts about me and my managerial approaches? Right. I'm going to use the same example now, but using a different phrase. Nicoletta, do you think we could talk about those new course books? Yes, sure. But can you give me a minute, please? Can you see the difference? I've said in essence, I said the same thing. I just don't have time. I do want to look at the course books, but I don't have time. But the first one was abrupt, it was rude, it was borderline aggressive. So there was no politeness about that at all. All right, so to recap, you want to think and you want to avoid speaking fast. By giving it some thought, you're giving yourself some precious time to come up with the vocabulary that you need to be more polite and also adjust your body language. Number 2, you want to listen and really listen. Listen for understanding. Don't just listen for the sake of hearing the person. Listen and be understanding. So turn them on. Okay? Tip number 3. Avoid negative words as far as possible, except the auxiliary, of course. We can't get away from that. But avoid negative words in general. So you never, ever have a good reaction to a negative response, ever. Hi, guys. Hi, Driali. Hi. How's it, Ian? Douglas. Hi. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Use positive words. A negative response is not a negative word is not going to get a positive response. You're always going to get a negative response to that. So don't say things like, I think that's a bad idea. Rather say, I don't think that's such a good idea. It sounds the same, right? But it's just softer. Like, that's a bad idea. I don't like it. Rather say, I don't think that's such a good idea. How about, so here's another example of what you should not do in this particular case. I'm going to use a very, very topical example. So do you think we should go on holiday to Europe? No, definitely not. What could you say instead? Perhaps we should skip a holiday this year? What do you think? All right, so again, being more polite. Okay, so this is a very general example. If my husband had to ask me now if I wanted to go on vacation, I would go on vacation. I don't know where, but I would. Okay, so negative words are always going to evoke a negative experience and a negative reaction from the person that you're speaking to. So try to avoid them as much as possible. Tip number 4, the magic word, sorry. You know, with sorry, you can fix many, many problems. So we know that sorry is used to apologize when you've done something wrong or you've hurt someone's feelings and you need to apologize. That's fine. Perfect. That's great. Don't forget about that. However, we can also use sorry to effectively and politely, keyword politely, interrupt or show that we don't understand something or that we don't agree with something, disagree with something. It also can diffuse a situation which is tense and confidently start a conversation which might be a little bit tough, might be a little difficult. Oh my gosh, Jamanthax, hello. Wow, Alexandre. Hi, Alex. Oh my goodness, this is amazing, guys. I'm honored. All right, so you guys are distracting me. Cool things. Sorry, I'm so distracted now by all your amazingness. Sorry, how to use sorry. Some examples that you can use to diffuse a difficult situation and to be more polite in a difficult situation is, for example, using the word sorry. And sorry, we could say, sorry, but can I say something? Or sorry, I don't agree. Or sorry, but I don't understand. Or sorry, just hear me out for a second. Sorry, rather than I don't understand. Listen to me, hear me out. Just adding that, hi Abdullah, just adding that I'm sorry or sorry in front of what you're going to say immediately sort of like releases the tension. Now, hi Hassan. How's it? Tip number 5. Really, really, really important tip. Don't use finger pointing statements, especially with the word you. Now, what does this mean? It means that instead of, it basically means you are accusing someone. You're being very, very accusative of something, and it's extremely super duper aggressive. Let me give you an example. You don't understand me, or you don't understand what the teacher said. Perhaps not saying that, you could say something like, perhaps I'm not making myself clear. Instead of, you don't understand me. Perhaps I'm not making myself clear. So instead of pointing the finger at the person that is not understanding or doesn't understand, doesn't understand, you're sort of like reversing it onto yourself. Okay? Don't say something like, you didn't explain this. I'm using examples from the classroom, guys. It just helps. You didn't explain this. Rather than you didn't explain this, you say, perhaps I didn't understand this point. So it's not that you didn't explain it, that you didn't quite get it. I didn't quite understand this point, teacher. Rather than you didn't explain it. You didn't explain it. Sorry, I'm looking at 2. You didn't explain it. Okay, this one is for all my fabulous students. Rather than saying, you need to give me a discount, teacher, or discount, teacher, you would rather want to say, teacher, I'm looking for a better price. How's that? Yeah, I'm looking for a better price rather than I want a discount or discount. We've heard it all, right? So that is especially for you guys. I am big on discounts as well. If I try to go out and, well, we'll go out and there's a possibility of getting a better price. You want to say? I'm looking for a better price, teacher. Somebody's disagreeing with me. But this happens. Remember that by being more polite, the person that you are speaking to is more likely to have a positive reaction to you. That doesn't mean that you're going to get a discount. I'm just saying, right? Okay, so guys, there are so many of you on online with me at the moment. Is there anyone that has a question that they want to ask me, something that they're not sure about? There's so many things that I could share with you guys. Anyways, I'm glad that you think that this is awesome, Chief. Thank you so much. Lambruse, thank you for your comment. Great. I'm really happy that you are finding this lecture useful. So, guys, these are some of my more useful tips, or my best tips on how to be more polite. But of course, don't forget the power of please and thank you, and of course a friendly smile. Altogether, these are going to help you become a more effective and more confident speaker of English, but probably any language, right? So to recap, you want to give it some thought. Think and speak slowly. Listen carefully to the person that is speaking to you. You want to be very careful that you are understanding what the person is saying. Avoid negative words. Only use positive words. All right? And don't forget the power of sorry. Sorry before everything diffuses a lot of tension. It helps to pave the way for a difficult thing that you need to say. And of course, rather turn the tables on you. So I or we or they rather than you, and have a more sort of like an accusation, to the person that you're speaking to. 5 top tips to be more polite. And of course, let's not forget our please and thank yous. So these are definitely going to help you be more polite and also be more confident in your conversations with English speakers. Adrieli, hi. I'm glad that you can understand everything that I'm saying. Mwah! Wonderful. Oh, Klaus, are you having your coffee? I'm so glad. All right, guys. So those are my top tips for being more polite. If you have any questions or you want to ask me something, please write a comment. And yes, I am going to do this again tomorrow, but not on being polite. I'm going to do another topic tomorrow. So if any of you have any requests, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to hit up another cool topic. And same time tomorrow, 5 p.m. Perhaps we can bring our cocktails or our coffee or our Arabic tea, coffee, dates. Maybe we can have something to drink together while we chat. How about that? Yeah? Hey, Tainara. All right, guys. It's been real. Have a fantastic evening or a wonderful day for those of you who have just woken up. See you tomorrow. Bye.